Hi, good morning, and thank you for tuning into our webinar today. My name is Swain, and I work as a part of the recruiting team here in the admissions office at Sloan. Today, we are joined by Kevin O'Brien, a financial assistant for student funding, and we'll be talking about how to finance your Sloan Fellows MBA. Before we get started, I just want to remind everyone to mute your phones and computers. And if you have any questions, hopefully we will answer them throughout the webinar, but feel free to type them in the chat box and hopefully we can get to them at the end. And I am going to pass this off to Kevin now to begin going over everything.
Hello, everyone. As mentioned, my name is Kevin O'Brien. I'm a financial assistant in the student funding department at MIT Sloan. Some of the topics we'll be covering today are fellowships and scholarships, student loans, external funding options, and tuition schedule, and we'll close it with a question and answer session. All right, so here's a few of the scholarships that you'll be considered for at the time of admission. The Dean Scholarship, the Global Scholars Fund, and the Office of Graduate Education Competitive Fellowship. All of these you will be automatically considered for based on your application material. For the Dean Scholarship, as you can see, approximately 10% of the class receives this award, and the awards range from $10,000 to $20,000. The Global Scholars Fund, these awards range from $20,000 to $50,000 and are awarded to 1 to 3 students per year. And the Office of Graduate Education Competitive Fellowship, these are awards will vary because from summer to full year, because there's several different Office of Graduate Education Competitive Fellowships that all students from across the institute are considered for. Next would be the Legatum Fellowships. This requires a separate application. These are primarily for students with an entrepreneurial focus. So if you feel like that is something you'd be interested in, go ahead and apply. I also maintain a list of external scholarships and grants. So if you would like this list, please feel free to contact me at studentfunding.mitsloan@mit.edu. Just a little further description on each of these scholarships and some of the criteria. The Dean Scholarships are awarded based on financial need, merit, and diversity. Global Scholarships are based on scholarship criteria, financial need, merit, and diversity as well. For the OGE Fellowships, these are highly competitive, and one student from each program will nominate one student, and then you're put into a larger pool across the institute. And from that pool, one student is chosen for each OGE Fellowship Award. For the Legatum Fellowships, as previously mentioned, these are for entrepreneurs who want to make an economic impact on their own countries after graduation. And for the external awards, the list of scholarships we have a pretty large list of external scholarships, obviously with each of these having their own criteria, deadlines, requirements. So please feel free to contact me for that list. On the list, there'll be a hyperlink to each Scholarship Foundation's website where you can learn more about each of these individual scholarships. As far as notification regarding the internal scholarships awarded at the time of admission, you'd be notified of these in late April, early May with your admission decision. Another option to help finance your education would be to apply for a student loan. If you are going to apply for a loan and you feel that you need to borrow in order to finance your educational costs, you will have to complete what's known as the graduate loan application. The graduate loan application is not a form for any type of actual funding. It's a form required by Student Financial Services in order to process loans on your behalf. In addition to this, domestic students will be required to complete the FAFSA whether or not you intend to borrow federal loans. If you do intend to borrow federal loans, great. If not, the FAFSA is still used for verification purposes. For domestic students, there are many loan options, including both federal and private loans. Private loans, most major U.S. banks offer student loans. For Federal loans, there's the Federal Direct Graduate Plus loan and the Federal Direct Unsubsidized loan. For international students, there are a few options. You can either apply through a U.S. bank with a U.S. cosigner, which would open up most options for you. You could also secure a loan in your home country, or your other option is to apply through the MIT Federal Credit Union. When you apply through the MIT Federal Credit Union as an international borrower, you will automatically be approved for a line of credit up to $230,000, from which you can borrow up to your program's cost of attendance, which is roughly around $180,000. You're automatically approved providing you're not from an OFAC sanctioned country. If you are from an OFAC sanctioned country, please feel free to contact me. Our contact information will again be presented at the end of the presentation. The graduate loan application will be available in mid-February and can become, the loan application for the MIT FCU will be available in mid-February and can be completed online. Most other lenders have a similar process, with their applications being available around the same time. If applicable, once the MIT FCU online application is complete, you will receive an approval letter that can be used for the visa application process, showing that you have secured funding for your educational costs at MIT. For corporate sponsorship, there may be some of you that your companies or organizations are willing to finance a portion or all of your educational costs. We would need you to reach out to studentfunding.mitsloan@mit.edu for a link to the sponsor information form. On this sponsor information form, all the information we need will, in order to invoice your company or organization directly, will be provided on that form. This way, we're able to invoice your company, collect the payments directly from your company, and have them applied to your student account. For veterans, please visit the site below or contact Student Financial Services at va@mit.edu. You can learn more about the veterans benefits on that website, and any specific questions can be directed to va@mit.edu regarding those benefits and the process for applying for them. As you can see here, here's the tuition schedule. This is accurate for the 2018 to 2019 academic year. So as you can see, for this year, the total tuition is $132,500. If you are to borrow loans, these will be evenly dispersed between the three terms, with summer loans usually being dispersed around mid-June, fall loans usually being dispersed around mid-September, and spring loans usually being dispersed around mid-February. So if you do intend to borrow for your educational costs, please be sure to budget accordingly, because when you first arrive to campus, your loan will not be posted right away for your refund. So please make sure you plan accordingly. And another important thing to note is that disbursement only occurs after you have registered for a particular term. Understanding and paying your bill. Please note that tuition is not the only charge on your student account. Other things will be posted there as well, such as medical insurance, other items such as parking, public transportation. If you use the medical center for any type of service, those charges will be posted to your student account. So even though you may have borrowed a loan, or if you're sponsored and you think that your student account is all set and everything is paid for, please note that you still have to check your student account on a monthly basis. You'll receive an email notification informing you that you need to check your online monthly statement to see if any new charges have posted. To make payments towards your student account, you can pay online using a U.S. bank account or via Flywire. And to access these monthly statements that I mentioned and current account activity, you can do so through MIT Pay. At this time, we'd like to open up the floor for any questions regarding your funding and financing options at MIT Sloan.
Again, if you have any questions, feel free to type them in the chat box and we will try to get to them. We will save a couple minutes for this, but hopefully we covered everything that you may have already wanted to know about how to finance your Sloan Fellows MBA. Additionally, we do record our webinars, so you will be able to see this up on our website afterward.
Yeah, yes, the slides are going to be shared.
Yeah, so if you go to the Sloan Fellows admissions events website and then look at previous recorded events, you'll be able to see this webinar as well as previous webinars that we have hosted that could cover a variety of different topics.
Hi, this is Josh DeMAio. The Forte Foundation Award is really awarded along with the Dean's Fellowships by admissions, and they can range in the same basic range as the Dean's Fellowship Award.
So for the MIT FCU, if you are a domestic borrower, I believe the interest rate probably ranges from 6.5 to 7%. If you're an international borrower, 6.75 to 7.25%, somewhere around there. It may have changed recently, but that's a decent estimate.
The deposit is not required before fellowship and loan decisions are made. You can apply for the loan. The loan is also guaranteed, so you don't have to worry about the loan decision, but you'll get notified of your fellowship award at the time of admission before you have to make a decision about depositing. Yep, first term tuition you can pay once you arrive on campus. That's no problem at all. The posted deadline for it is June 1st, but there won't be any penalties until later in the month. So if you arrive at the beginning of June and pay, that won't be an issue at all.
Are there any fellowships that cover full tuition for international students? If you want, please contact me and I can send you the list of external scholarships to see if there's any available. There may be through the OGE. Keep in mind the OGE fellowships are very competitive because Sloan will nominate one student from each program, and then you're put into a larger pool with candidates from across the institute. And from that pool of candidates, one student will be selected for each fellowship. As far as the fees for 2019 to 2020, those are not available at this point in time. Those should be available sometime this spring. Loan forgiveness policy.
So there's a question here about a loan forgiveness policy. There is not a loan forgiveness policy in place currently at Sloan for students who go into the public sector.
For the Legatum Fellowship, please visit the site that this presentation will be available after. You can visit the site that was listed for the Legatum Fellowship to learn more about the specific criteria. As far as paying back after graduation, you go into repayment 6 months after graduation. However, there's no early repayment penalties. So you can start paying your loan right away, but you do have a 6-month grace period before you go into repayment.
There's a question here about loan options for international students. There isn't a benefit to using the MIT Federal Credit Union. If you're approved for another financial institution like Prodigy, and there is also a loan that's available for MIT Sloan students through Discover. Be able to get the link to both of those applications on the admit site a bit later on in the process. But if you can find an external lender like that, there is no benefit whatsoever to going with the MIT Federal Credit Union. So I would just do a loan comparison in terms of the interest rate you're getting and the repayment terms, and I would base your decision on that.
No collaterals are required for international students to take a loan from the MIT FCU. Merit just means your, I guess your achievements, your academic success or success in the work world, things of that nature. Fellowships available for Americans. You can email me at studentfunding.mitsloan@mit.edu. I will send you the list of external fellowships that we have. Also, all students, international or domestic, are considered for fellowships at the time of admission. Same with the OGE fellowship, competitive fellowship.
You are not allowed to include the cost of study trips in the cost of attendance. So if you are looking to borrow the full cost of attendance and use that to fund your education, that's something you'd have to account for in your budgeting. Are the interest rates competitive in the terms of repayment of the loan? The Federal Credit Union repays over 25 years. Most of the competitors are either 15 or 20. And the interest rates are all pretty similar. They're typically variable. The difference that you're going to see is whether they're based on prime or LIBOR, so that they can, but you're going to end up in the same 2 to 3 point range from any of those lenders.
So if you were to start another degree after the Sloan Fellows program, say you started the degree, it was longer than 6 months after you started the degree, you will go into repayment. But once you start another program, whether it be at MIT or another institution, your loans will automatically go into deferment, meaning that while you're in school, you're not expected to make payments on those loans, providing it's a full-time degree-seeking program. Was it 25? The maximum term for repayment on the MIT FCU loan is 25 years. Do we...
All right, do we have any final questions? Any admissions related questions right now? We will either cover it in a future webinar or you can send us an email since we are focusing on financial aid and scholarships at this time.
There's a final question about OFAC sanctioned countries. There's no real additional information. It's just that the online application is going to automatically stop you. So you're going to need to just apply manually. You're going to need to apply manually, but there isn't additional information that you need, and you are still able to apply for the full amount of the loan. Sloan does not have fellowships that are specifically only available to U.S. minorities. So the fact you would just be considered along with all other students for the Dean's Fellowship and the other awards given out by admissions.
For external awards, no, you can apply before being admitted external scholarships, but however, depending on the scholarship organization that you're applying through, they may require some type of information indicating that you will be attending a graduate program.
Specific scholarships for government servants for foreign countries, nothing from Sloan, no. So you would need to go through the external fellowship list from Kevin.
Yes.
And you might be able to find things that do pertain to your specific country. There is one in particular through the Office of Graduate Education for students from Egypt, but it's because of a specific donor criteria.
If you have any specific questions, if you're looking for any type of scholarship specific to your set of skills or anything of that nature, please contact studentfunding.mitsloan@mit.edu. I will send you the list of external scholarships and fellowships. As far as those awarded through MIT, they're strictly based on your MIT application material. And yeah.
One last, yes, somebody had issue with the audio. Yes, you can use the loan to borrow for the full cost of attendance. So that does include living expenses.
Great. Well, thank you so much for helping out, Josh and Kevin. Again, this webinar will be posted online, so you can go back and review the slides and the resources, and that will be on the admissions page under previously recorded virtual events for the Sloan Fellows program. And again, if you have any admissions questions, feel free to send us an email as well. But thank you all so much for tuning in, and I hope you found this to be helpful. Thanks.